taking massive action towards your goal. I was just focused on, well, I just want to make like $10,000 a month, right? If I can just make $10,000 a month, I can get by. I'll be happy.
I got $1 billion mindset, steady as a flow.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Marlon Johnson here, aka Mindset Marlon, and I help entrepreneurs achieve success personally, professionally, and financially by empowering their minds and connecting them to the right people. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a concept of 10x, right? And maybe you've heard about the 10x concept or the 10x principle, or if you've ever listened to Grant Cardone, you hear him talk about 10x everything. Well, does 10x even work, and what is it? Let's jump right into it. So the concept of 10x, you guys probably most likely heard about this from Grant Cardone, multi-billion-dollar real estate investor and entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. Really interesting guy. He always goes around and says, you got to 10x everything, 10x your goals, 10x your dreams, 10x everything. So if you want to make $1 million, your goal should not be to make $1 million. According to the 10x principle, your goal should be to make $10 million. If you want to do one sale, your goal should be to do 10 sales. If you want to own one building, your goal should be to own 10 buildings. Why does he say this? And why should you be paying attention to it? Is there any merit to this principle? Well, I think to understand it, we've got to dive fully into the entirety of what he's saying. So Grant actually has a pretty interesting concept with this. He basically says that, look, if you're shooting for a goal, the truth is most of the time when people go to achieve something big, they fall short of the goal. So if your goal was to earn $100,000, maybe you only earned $70,000 that year, or $80,000. If your goal was to make 10 sales, maybe you only made 7 or 8 sales. So with that being the case, if you're always naturally falling short of the goal, he says, well, a simple solution to this would be, well, if your goal is really to hit 10, why not set your goal at 100? So even if you fall short of 100 and maybe do 70, you're still well ahead of what you originally were going for. So some of you might be thinking, well, Marlon, that's a neat little trick to play on yourself, but if you couldn't even do 10 and now you're setting a goal for 100, how's that even make sense? I don't get it. You're just going to be even more upset that you failed at a bigger goal. And this is why most people won't set the bigger goal. But Grant also says something more. If you're willing to dive deeper into his work, he also says when you 10x your goal, it's also important that you look at the action required and you 10x the action that you think you need to take. So if you thought that in order to make 10 sales, you had to do 100 cold calls, then your goal is to make 100 sales and now you need to do 1,000 cold calls. Well, if you're going to 10x your goal, you also need to 10x the action. So instead of making 1,000 cold calls, you need to be making 10,000 cold calls. Yeah. You mean I got to do work? Yes. Guys, you have to do work. This is where a lot of you are getting lost in the personal development space. And I want to wake you up for a second. A lot of you are getting lost in just feeling like you have to sit and only think about it. Maybe you watched the movie The Secret, which, by the way, it's a great movie. It's a great book. The principles there are very real. In fact, Bob Proctor, who was one of the leads in that movie, talks about it all the time, but he also says he thinks The Secret did a disservice to a lot of the personal development community, because what happened was so many people were starting to feel like they can just get high, sit on their couch, and just imagine and wait for reality to come to them. And the truth is, sure, let's say the reality is coming to you, but it's coming at a snail's pace because you're not helping move it along. You need to actually go and allow spirit to express itself through you. You need to allow your goals and your dreams to express themselves through you. That's how dreams are birthed into the world. They come through people. You are the vehicle, you are the conduit, you are the light bulb that allows the electricity to flow and illuminate the room. If you could start to understand this concept and begin to implement action along with your goal setting, you're going to receive amazing results. So when Grant Cardone is saying you got to 10x your goals, he's also saying you need to 10x the amount of work that you think needs to be done. 10x, if you thought you had to do 1,000 calls, you're doing 10,000 calls. Now, again, this is going to get you into a position where, because of the amount of work, the sheer amount of action, taking massive action towards your goal, you're more likely to actually achieve what originally was your baseline goal and actually well surpass that. So even if you fall short of that 10x goal, you're still well above your current goal. And I can tell you, in my own life, this principle has proven itself to be extremely helpful, extremely beneficial, extremely lucrative, and true. See, when I was getting into real estate, I was just focused on, well, I just want to make like $10,000 a month, right? If I could just make $10,000 a month, I can get by. I'll be happy. You know what I was being? All right, so sorry on the technical difficulties on that one. So I accidentally knocked my desk. I got excited about it. I knocked my desk so hard that the cell phone actually fell in between the desk. I'm at a hotel right now. But listen, I was being lazy. So when I realized that I can do more, if I took 10x the action, if I took 10 times more work, that ultimately, and I set a goal that was 10 times larger, I would produce more. So when my goal was to make $10,000, I was making anywhere between, $4,000 to sometimes like $12,000 a month. And then I had set a goal to $100,000. And then I started to realize I was making more, like $20,000, $30,000. Now there were months where I actually did break through and make over $100,000. I made over $40,000 in months, and it was really awesome. But it came from setting that 10x goal. So this year, when I had set my goals of, hey, I want to do $1 million in profit this year, I was sitting down with some mentors who had earned over $100 million. And guess what they told me? If you really want to earn $1 million this year, your goal shouldn't be to earn $1 million because you're going to fall short of it. Your goal needs to be to earn $10 million. So guess what my goal is for 2023? To earn $10 million in 2023. So I've got a lot of work to do. Here's the benefit of thinking like this. When you start to think like this, you start asking yourself bigger questions. You're no longer asking, how do I earn $1 million? You're asking yourself, what do I need to do to earn $10 million? How much action, how much work, who do I need to bring into my life? What resources do I need? And you start thinking bigger. When you start thinking this way, you start to expand past that $1 million, past the 2 million, 3 million, 4. You start to expand everything about everything you're doing. This is the benefit of the 10x rule. This is the benefit of 10x thinking. So I implore you to start leveraging this 10x rule in your life, right? You want to be a better husband? Think about, how do I become a 10 times better husband? How do I become a 10 times better father? How do I earn 10 times more than what the goal is? How do I go on 10 times more vacations or enjoy the vacation at a level of 10? Ask yourself these questions and start to play with the ideas. Guys, if you got value at all from this video and you enjoyed the realness of me slamming this phone down and accidentally knocking it over, and you just really are getting value here, do me a favor, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the 10x rule. Let me know if you've ever applied it in your life, and if so, what are you applying it to right now? Also, hit the subscribe button. We got new videos coming out every single day. Turn on the like and share this video with somebody that you think needs to hear this, somebody that would benefit. If you know someone that would benefit from listening to this, go ahead and pass this on to them. All right, guys, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Let's connect.
I got $1 billion mindset, steady as a flow, navigating on my time spent, letting niggas know. $1 billion, $1 billion. Yeah, I got $1 billion mindset, steady as the flow.